All right, guys, just bear with us as we get live. All right, just starting this up here. Again, this is our first live event, so please, 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 please bear with us as we're getting everything up and running here. All right. Turn off all of our Wi-Fi's here. We're going to wait for some people to join. All right, guys. All right. So we got a couple of people joining here. I'm going to say again, this is one of our first live streams. So let's see how it does. All right. Let's go here and let's get this party started. What's going on, guys? So this is our first live stream. Super excited. It was kind of like last minute, so sorry if you guys weren't able to join us live and ask questions that you guys wanted to ask, but we are here. All right. We're going to be doing a couple things here. We're going to do some Q&As. We're going to just do some basic talk of the week, kind of things that we've seen on social media, things that we've discussed on our page, maybe videos that we posted that you guys want to talk about, or dogs that we've been training and you want to ask specific questions regarding those specific dogs. We can do that as well. So it's kind of just a free-floating type of platform here. All right, so nothing serious, just laid back, really just kind of get in front of you guys and answer some of your questions that some of you have DM'd us, but we don't have time to answer because there's just so many. We're going to get Charlie out of the crate here because he's going to start being a maniac. So let's get some questions going here, guys. So first things first, if you guys have not headed over to our website, we got a new website up and running. It is Overwatch Pet Resort. All right, guys, so go check it out. Flip through there. There's our training page. There's our boarding page. There's just about us. There's links to our other platforms like here, YouTube, or our Instagram page or anything like that. If you don't already follow our Canine GT Nation page on Instagram, you can see it right here. You got to go follow that as well. We're going to start putting a lot more content on there, specifically a lot more training stuff. And you're also going to get some pictures. If you do board dogs with us, you'll get some pictures of dogs boarding here on a daily basis. So we're going to have just kind of like a mix of things on that page. All right, guys? Questions. We got any questions so far? All right. All right, intro. Thank you. Yeah, so the intro, it's not our final intro. Just trying to change things up, make it interesting for you guys. More stuff that we can make it interesting, get you guys more engaged, more involved. We definitely want to try to drive more traffic to our YouTube page. So we're going to be posting our full-length training videos on here. On Instagram and Facebook, it's tough for us to post the entire training from start to finish, right? Because we have a 59-second block where you can do multiple videos, but it's really 59 seconds to get that point across of transition with a dog in their progress in our training program. So our goal is to start posting more of the insight from start to finish. That way people can see the transition, how it's done. Obviously, you're not going to see how exactly step by step you're going to be able to do it, because a lot of things comes down to experience and getting your hands on the dogs and understanding how to control a dog, and that comes through the trainer. All right, a lot of that stuff you just can't watch a video and learn. As a lot of you trainers know, a lot of you experienced trainers know, that just having that book knowledge or something that you read or something that you saw that's only half the battle. You have to be comfortable with understanding how to work a dog. I've had people come here for wanting to be a trainer, and they have great resumes. Their resumes are superb. Like, I look at their resume and go, holy, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to afford you. And then they get here and I put them on a leash, and it's like they have no clue what they're doing. And that's a real problem. So for all you junior trainers out there that always DM us, hey, how do you get involved with training? How can I become a better trainer? You have to get your hands on a leash. You have to get out there and start handling dogs. Obviously, the first step is to get around trainers that match up with your psychology of training, your philosophy of training. That way, you're already on the right track, but you have to get on the leash. In my early days of training, I went and volunteered at shelters. I wanted to work with all the aggressive dogs, the dogs that they thought they couldn't be able to rehabilitate, put in homes, the dogs that weren't necessarily being taken out. They were really just pretty much opening the guillotines and letting them out on one side, shutting them, cleaning the one side and opening them back up. And it was kind of just that back and forth life for that dog. So that's where I got a lot of my hands on at first when I started doing this from the get-go. A lot of you know that I'm prior military. I was a Marine, and still am a Marine, obviously. Once a Marine, always a Marine. Semper Fi to all the Marines out there. When I got out of my active duty contract, I went to the reserves, but I also went to college. I graduated college. Then I was already in the realm of executive protection work. Got a job, got a really good job. I actually got to work with a dog on that job. And then I was working dogs on the side. And one day it would just I kind of got pushed into it by my boss, and pretty much he told me that I couldn't accomplish my dreams without quitting and going 100% all in. I had a mortgage to pay. I had, bills. I didn't have a car because I drove a company vehicle. I just bought a house 6 months prior to this. So was it scary? Absolutely. But he was right. I wasn't going to be successful unless I went all in. The thought of having something to fall back on, so just in case you fail, a lot of times that doesn't push you enough to actually succeed with what you're trying to do. Those of you that went to Marine Corps boot camp, they kind of teach you that it's all or nothing. You have to succeed or you die. It's kind of the mentality I went into with growing my business of Canine Gunner Tactical. So I started training at local parks, started training friends, family dogs. Then I started volunteering at shelters. Again, just getting as much information and as much leash time as possible with dogs. And then I started doing self-educate myself. I went online. I went on to different platforms where they're having back and forth conversations about dog training. Then I started going on to other websites where you could teach yourself through their training programs. Then I went to seminars. So I was all over the place. I didn't just pigeonhole myself to this is what I wanted to do. This was the training I wanted to do. This is the trainer I like, and that's where I stopped. No, I really branched out, and I continue to do that even to this day. I always say if you meet a trainer that says they know everything and their way is the best way, it's probably not the trainer for you. All right, it's always evolving. You're always learning something every day with every dog that you work. So you're always constantly learning and tweaking your methods to the dog that's in front of you. As you know, if you follow our page, I was just down at Southern Oak Kennels down in Mississippi. They're a big hunting dog kennel. In my opinion, the best Labrador hunting dogs in the United States, the bird dogs. I think their training system is awesome. The reason why I went down there originally was I wanted to understand more of how they communicate with their dogs off leash with directionals and whistle stops, with no e-collars, no prong collars, because in my world, that's what I was used to, e-collars and prong collars. So I went down there with an open mind, and I learned a lot. And I continue going down there every year, maybe twice a year, maybe 3 times a year, to continue that training and continue that learning process. And you get really good friends, really close friends by doing this in the industry, and you grow every day when you have that mindset. What was my MOS in the Marines? I was an 0311. I was infantry, and then I was with 2nd LAR, 2nd Light Armor Reconnaissance Battalion. And then when I got out, when my reserve unit, I turned to an 0369, which is an infantry platoon sergeant, and I ran the weapons section. Any other questions?
You want to talk about dog aggression?
Dog aggression, okay. So when we talk about dog aggression, we see things at our training facility a lot. You know, such things as, you know, if you look at the video right here, in my opinion, this is honestly a dog that has more fear-based aggression. All right, in my opinion, it's just not a forwardly aggressive dog. This is all things that they have learned over time to learn how to deal with what makes them uncomfortable. When someone makes me uncomfortable, when something makes me uncomfortable, I resort to using my teeth or growling, barking, whatever it may be. The dog learns that A and B equals the person to go away. If that means growling, if that means snarling, if that means lunging, if that means biting, that is what the dog learns. All right. So over time, this could be a snowball effect that happens overnight, or it happens over a period of time. Every dog is different. What they need to do is understand the foundation in dog training. They need to understand the foundation of communication between the handler and the dog. This dog here, we didn't just like take the dog out and continually, you know, crank on the dog. For the longest time, we sat outside the kennel. One of my trainers, she spent a lot of time with the dog outside the kennel and sat there, built a rapport with the dog. Eventually, we started taking the dog out more often on a slip lead. How could I punish this dog when I had the dog on a slip lead? Well, for this dog, what I did is I ran him. Every time the dog would go to bite me, I would do sprints with this dog. The dog was a little overweight and he did not like the sprints. So punishment can come in many different facets. We do that in the military. It's a good way to punish a dog, per se, is a fat dog, I'll run them and sprint them. They get exhausted real quickly. But as you can see in this video, he came around really nicely. You know, he had aggression towards human, aggression towards dogs, and he did really well. So I was really happy with this turnout. Again, we had you know, multiple people on this dog, but as far as, you know, the outcome in general was awesome. All right, I still talk to I always talk to these families afterwards. The biggest factor with these dogs when they come here for a training program such as that one is the follow-up, the aftercare. The training program is only as good as that follow-on care that the training facility and also the owners are partaking. So if I feel that when you bring me a dog, if your expectations is when you get the dog back, you're not going to have to continue doing work, I won't bring your dog into our training program. Why? Because it's a waste of your money, it's a waste of my time. The follow-up care is the most important. So we do a lot of going over how to handle, what to do, how to read the dog, because that's 90% of it, is getting the dog before it gets to that threshold of, you know, I call it the red line. Once that dog goes red line, you're not getting them back. It's going to take a lot of pressure to get that dog back. But if we can read these signs with these dogs that are getting uncomfortable, getting agitated, getting aggressive per se, we can really stop them in their tracks and start to redirect them to say, hey, not okay, give them a punisher and move forward. And a lot of these dogs do very well with that. So let me look at another video here. I forget what else videos we have going here. All right, so let me resize this. Sorry, guys. Hold on one second. So do we have any questions? Can you look through the questions real quick?
Yeah, they said, what about random fear-based aggression? Sometimes they're fine and others are not.
All right, so in my opinion, there's no random fear-based aggression. All right, the dog has probably sent 10,000 signals that you're just not catching, that you're not reading. So again, I would say you need to find a local trainer who deals with these type of dogs that when you call them, if you say, what is your style of training? And they say, you know, all positive training, you need to say thanks a lot and move forward and try to find another trainer. You need to have a balanced trainer. You need to have someone that works with both a positive reinforcement style of training and also a corrective based style of training. It needs to be a fine balance between the two of them, but 100% fearful dogs, skittish dogs, anxiety-based dogs, these dogs all need a correction-based training program. There's no way around it, no ifs, ands, or buts. The dog needs to understand the behaviors will not be tolerated and they're not okay. Clearly, most likely what you've been doing so far by reinforcing the dog, throwing treats at the dog, trying to bait the dog to, oh, come here, look over here, don't look over there, that's not what you like, so come look at this treat. This stuff doesn't work. It's like putting a Band-Aid on a bleeding artery, just like gushing blood where it needs a tourniquet. No, it doesn't need a Band-Aid, it needs a tourniquet. And you need to find a trainer that's capable of providing that service for you and your dog, because at the end of the day, you're going to spend a lot of money. Like a lot of my clients have come to me in the past and saying, I've visited 4 other trainers, I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on this dog with no prevail, and you're our last hope. And I looked at prior trainers, and a lot of times they're falling on the all positive side of the house where they're trying to treat this dog to death. That's not what these dogs need. That's not how you're going to rehabilitate these dogs. That's not how you're going to get behavior modification in these dogs. Any other questions?
So Matthew said, I had my husky Copper with your outfit last year for a 2-week board and train. He's doing great. He still wants to jump over 6-foot fences, but what can he do? He wants to run. Thanks again.
Yeah, so good old Copper. So these huskies love to run. They just love to run. So what I would do with that guy is you got to make that aspect of going over that fence not pleasurable to him, and that means getting him on the e-collar and starting almost like the electric fence theory. When he gets to that border by the fence, you start giving him that correction where he thinks twice about going over that fence. But I'm glad that he's doing really well.
And then Terry and Erica both want to know what your thoughts are on online dog training, and then specifically Mike Ritland's.
So what is my views on online dog training and also Mike Ritland's program? All right. One, I think online dog training is a good use of gaining outside knowledge. And let's backtrack here. It honestly depends on what you're dealing with your dogs. If we're looking for basic obedience stuff, if we're looking for, puppy to your first dog, or getting a dog from the shelter and then starting this language of communication, of how to communicate with the dog, what are markers, educating yourself on markers and what are markers, how do they work. Systems like Mike Ritland's are phenomenal. He's got a great training program. He's got an online-based style where you can kind of go back and forth and with other people that are in the program as well that are signed up for that online training. But when you're dealing with other issues that have to do with, let's just say, fearful behavior, a dog doesn't like strangers, a lot of these things, you need to go seek professional help for them. This is not something that's going to be fixed in home by yourself, especially by yourself that you're very inexperienced and you're just mostly getting most of your training knowledge from an online source. You definitely need to seek a trainer that is specialized in working with these dogs. Unfortunately, it's about, in my opinion, about 1 to 5% of trainers in the United States deal with these type of truly either fear-based aggression, aggressive dogs, reactive dogs. Most trainers want to deal with dogs that are warm and cuddly and just don't want to sit or don't want to recall. These are trainers that you find mostly across your state, your town. You don't have these well-experienced trainers that are equipped with the experience and knowledge how to work with these dogs, because the simple fact is they just don't want to. It sucks. It sucks dealing with a dog that wants to kill you. And if you've seen a lot of our videos, the dogs, they want to hurt you. They want to bite you for you to go away. They want to say, I'm going to bite you if you keep trying to interact with me. I'm going to bite you if you put that slip lead on me. I'm going to bite you if you try to come into my kennel. Most people don't want to run the risk of getting bit. It's not fun. It's expensive. Most bites I don't even go to the hospital for. I use some, clean them out real good, and I put some super glue on them and move on. Why? Because that's just what I'm used to with these dogs. I get people that come here all day. Like today, there was a client that came in here. They brought their dog to the vet. The vet was like, pretty much stopped doing what they were doing. They stopped administering the vaccination that they needed to give them. The dog was quote unquote freaking out, super aggressive with them. And the vet said, you need to go over to Canine Gunner Tactical. They deal with these type of dogs. See if they can't get this dog under control in the next 2 weeks so you can bring him back here so we can finish up what the dog needs. So the biggest thing was the dog's nails were super long. The dog's nails haven't probably been clipped in months, to the point where they were, curling over. So they brought the dog here, and within 20 minutes of the consultation, I've clipped 2 nails, all right? And they were like blown away. And the dog tried biting me, but it was more of a mouthy kind of bite. And the fact is I didn't use a whole lot of pressure. I relaxed the dog with my demeanor. I relaxed him just by saying, not okay, not gonna happen, I'm not going where, we're still gonna clip your nails, you're gonna give me one of them. But when the dog settled, I gave him a treat. When he didn't, he's not going anywhere. So we ended up clipping 2 nails just to kind of show him. They couldn't even get the dog on the scale at the vet. We put him on our scale, weighed him. The dog hasn't been weighed in 6 months, so they needed to know weight on the dog. So we got all that accomplished within a 30-minute block here, with talking to them, telling me the history of their dog, and then me getting down nitty-gritty with the dog. So these are things that we see a lot, that even most vets won't even mess with these dogs that show teeth, that are quote-unquote aggressive. But in my opinion, most of these dogs are not even close to being aggressive. Another question?
Do you have tiers of training for each dog?
That's a mighty good question. And yes, we do, to say the least. Matter of fact, if I can open up this real quick, give me 1 second so I can show you guys our structure here. All right, so this is our rank structure here. It's the Marine Corps rank structure, all right? We go all the way up to Staff Sergeant, which is the second row, the first one. And at each rank structure, there's different expectations that we expect the dog to be able to do. When the dog, quote unquote, graduates, all right, it gets promoted to the next rank. Each rank, the dog receives a rank insignia for their collar. So we're gonna start bringing this to hopefully the online platform where you guys can pretty much set your goals with your dog based off our rank structure. And why I did this, because I saw a lot of my clients sign up for packages. They're getting the results they wanted to get, but now it's like, what's next? What can we do now? And I was like, that's a good question. Have you done this? Well, no, I haven't done that. I don't think my dog can do that. Okay. So what I did is I sat down, I started to draw out an outline of what I would expect at different levels for each dog. Obviously, some of these levels will vary with puppies and adults, but for the most part, it's pretty unanimous across the board. All the way up to Staff Sergeant rank, which is more of our advanced obedience dogs, off-leash, 100% reliability. I say 100%, let's just say 99.5%, because dogs are dogs. But it sets forth goals for you to have with your dog That way you don't get stagnant in training. Most people go, okay, my dog can heel, my dog can sit, my dog can ignore people. What's now? Well, this gives them criteria to look forward to, what to start working on in the future, and that they continue need work on. So when they get promoted, let's just say this dog just stopped doing duration sit stays, and the owner just started working on everything else. Well, when I bring them in for that next test, for that next rank, to get promoted to the next rank, I hit spontaneously just random prior rank expectations. If that dog fails those prior rank expectations, they don't get promoted to the next rank. So that's kind of like our ranking protocol here. It's fun. It gets clients really involved with the dogs and gives them kind of like being competitive with each other. So like come into the facility, your dog's wearing a higher rank, and then we're getting ribbons and some badges for dogs that are doing bite work, dogs that are doing scent work, dogs that are doing tracking, agility work, dogs that are doing our paw fit program. We're gonna have fun little nuances to add to that dog's collar, because all of our collars have the Velcro on them, so they can put the patches on there. So it's really neat. So if you're interested in that, we can definitely get you some more information regarding our rank structure. All right. Let's see what other questions we got going on here.
Matthew Lesko said the e-collar will be something I ask for your help with in the future to help him get his run fix. He pulls me on my rollerblades a few miles a day.
All right. Yeah. My question is all right, so e-collar, prong collars is my major question with any dogs that are getting on these systems. Is we have to start off with basic understanding of basic fundamental stuff. Leash pressure, does the dog understand leash pressure? We start with the foundation work, and then we start introducing, prong collars, e-collars. If we just introduce these tools outside of things that they don't know, or with the things that they don't know, it becomes a big conflict. They get very confused and they shut down because they have no clue what you're wanting them to do, but also no clue what this new stimuli is. So the biggest thing is get a lot of reps with basic obedience stuff, heeling, sitting, downing, coming to you, recall work, leash pressure. The dog has to have thousands of reps with these types of things, so that way it's very fluent. When you're introducing other things like e-collars and prong collars, it goes seamlessly. Obviously, it's not a perfect world. A lot of times we have to introduce these types of equipment with something that's not 1,000 reps, especially if it's something that's going to hurt someone or injure the dog. I don't care if the dog's not comfortable with the collar that I'm going to use. I'm still going to use it because the simple fact that they are going to injure themselves or hurt someone else, I don't care if they're fearful of whatever I'm using it with, all right? All right, so let's talk for a second so give this video a second to kind of load. It's about 40 seconds worth of sideways videoing. So let this thing load here. All right, this was a video I posted on Instagram/Instagram TV, and it stirred up a lot of controversy for the simple fact that I quote unquote was throwing the dog and I was viciously pulling him into the kennel. All right, I should have started off with getting a positive association with the kennel. I should have started off with just showing him the kennel is so good, so loving. It's such a nice fuzzy place. Put a nice comfy bed in there. You should have treated the dog. You should have gave him a steak dinner in there. Well, guess what, people? We did all that. We tried positive association with it. We tried just free shaping the dog when it got closer to the kennel, marking it as a good behavior, marking it as a good thing. Guess what? The dog said, F you, F that kennel, I ain't getting close to it. We tried everything underneath the sun with this dog. But simple fact that this dog needs to be kenneled and kenneled at home because it needs to be safe. It's a very anxious dog and very fearful dog. So this was our last resort here. This is no different than you popping a dog on an e-collar, pulling on a dog on popping a dog on a prong collar, pulling a dog on a prong collar. Putting a dog on an e-collar and getting them stimulation, that is no different. Or for you tree huggers out there that put flat collars on their dogs and let their dogs strangle themselves, I can guarantee that that dog that you have on a flat collar that is gasping for air, there's tons of studies out there with damage of tracheas on the flat collars is so bad. But as you can see at the end of the video, this dog is going into this kennel. She is jumping in there, not really jumping in there, but she's going in there and she's coming out, tail wagging, jumping up on me. You know, much different body language from the beginning of the video. All right, guys. So you have to, again, if you have a trainer, make sure you trust them. I would never in a million years, I'm not an animal abuser. I love dogs. That's why I got into this business. But this dog truly came around and understood and started to freely walk into the kennel when I said kennel. And that's the biggest thing is does the dog understand eventually what you're trying to convey to them, and do they do it without force? And the answer was yes. And a lot of you couldn't put a video on the internet nowadays without getting some type of 10,000 haters on there. And I encourage the haters to continue hating. There's always going to be something put out there with a lot of uneducated people, and that's what it is. It's people that are very uneducated, that have no clue what they're doing. And a lot of these trainers that are commenting like that, clearly they have not worked with enough dogs, or they pigeonholed their training to dogs, and I know tons of them that go, yeah, we won't train your dog. No, we don't do that. Why? Because it doesn't fit their training program. It doesn't fit the mold of how they're going to get success. So if that dog started their training program, that dog is not going to be successful in their training program, because the simple fact, they're not going to be able to use the tools that they're going to need to use to get success out of that dog. They're using these techniques with dogs that fit those techniques. And that's the difference between real trainers and trainers that are training pet dogs. All right? A lot of our clients that come to us, they come to us because they're having issues. It's a last straw. The one more bite, the dog's getting euthanized. These are all last-ditch efforts for a lot of these dogs, and they're in a desperate need of help. They're crying for help. And that's what we give them. We give them help, and we show them the tools that they need to start using, the tools that they haven't used in the past, and the reasons why they've gotten to the point they are with their dog, and how to move forward to continue having, or to start to have, a enjoyable life with your dog. That's the biggest thing that I try to give, and I want to give, and I like to give all my clients, is that enjoyable love, that going out with your dog, it should be a joyful experience. Having a dog in your life is just that should make your life that much better. It shouldn't be something that's a burden on you, all right? That's awful to have a dog and it just be a burden on you. And if that's the case, you should get rid of the dog and give it to someone who is willing to do the right training with the dog, or start training the dog and finding the right trainers to train your dog. And that's the biggest thing, all right? Any questions?
Matt with Copper just says that he wants to use the e-collar, but he won't do it without you because he doesn't understand it.
That's good. All right, the last thing I want you to do is throw on that e-collar and go off to the winds with it and really mess up the dog. Email us, Kelsey will get in touch, we'll touch base, and then we'll go from there and get you on the right steps to getting that thing successfully being used.
And then someone said, I can't wait to see you in class next weekend. I don't know who that is.
Oh, I tried calling you earlier, or a day ago. We're not having group class this upcoming weekend, or the following weekend. You need to clear out your voicemails because it's full, all right? I tried leaving you a message, but to no prevail. So clear out your messages, all right? I need an inbox.
I'm just going back by that because someone called you Brad. It's Brady.
All right. What else we got going on here? All right, guys. So let's see what else we have up on the screen here. All right. So those of you who are just joining us, if you guys don't already follow our Canine GT Nation page, you should head over there and check it out. If you see it, it's going to be popping up on the screen here momentarily. But you got to go follow that page. We're going to be putting a lot more content on that page than we do our Canine Gunner Tactical page. We're going to be doing a lot more training videos on that page. We're going to start doing Instagram TV on that page. So you got to go over and follow it. Canine GT Nation, guys. It's a great page. And if you have you not already checked out our website, I want you to head over to our website and give it a gander. We put a lot of effort and work into it, and we are loving it. So go over there, Overwatch Pet Resort, and that's Overwatch Pet Resort is the same thing as Canine Gunner Tactical, Canine GT Nation. It's just another kind of a marketing ploy to gain more traction in the pet community for overall boarding. So it's the same thing. It's here at Canine Gunner Tactical, Overwatch Pet Resort. I still own it. It's the same thing. It just looks better on flyers than Canine Gunner Tactical. Canine Gunner Tactical is so strong, so canine oriented, so manly, and people don't want to board their fluffy dog with us. But we do board fluffy dogs. We board dogs that are super small, and we even board, you know, little dogs like Charlie here. He's a good boy. Ugh. Ugh. Right, buddy?
They want to know about scent work and bite work. You know, are these particular dogs that you train?
So, if you watched our Canine GT Nations page last night, Wednesday night, we did bite work and protection work. So the answer is yes. We do police dogs. We're actually in the process of importing one right now. Right, Charlie? What do you think? How many of you love Charlie? How many of you want to see more Charlie? Charlie! Charlie just now started getting on the e-collar. Teaching him the e-collar. He's super tired. Ugh, look how tired of he's like a sack of potatoes when he's tired. He works all day and he just wants to relax at night. Right, buddy? You got your harness on?
What about scent work?
And we do scent work as well. I don't do any type of, he's so heavy. We don't do any type of AKC scent work or anything like that. We do pretty much explosive and narcotics type of scent work. We just started doing some tracking with small dogs, puppies, and also adult dogs, teaching tracking to more of like the fun civilian type of the house with some of our clients. We're trying to give more options for things to do with your dog, because that's the biggest thing that clients say. Like, listen, my dog listens now. My dog's super obedient. I just want to do something else. I want a hobby with the dog. I want to do something. My dog wants to work. I want to give him a job. So we start giving these dogs jobs, searching for things, tracking. We can do scent work. So we do a wide variety of training across the board. But we don't do, a lot of people ask, do you do sport work? No, we don't. We don't do any sport work. Can we get the foundation done for you? Absolutely. But as far as doing the actual sport work and educating you on the grading system and what's done on the field, I don't do. I would say go to a club to do that. But we can definitely get you on the right track with the foundation work with communication and obedience. Same thing with any type like AKC scent work, stuff like that, barn hunting. I think those are all amazing things that you can do with your dog hobby-wise. I just don't have the time to do it right now with my clients, so we don't do it is the answer. All right. Any other questions?
He wants a patch. This guy.
All right, patch. Let's see here. I want a patch. And
Sent him one. It's just not the one he wanted. We didn't
a torch. I didn't recognize your name there. You wanted what patch did you want? With the rectangle one? Trying to think if I have any. We stopped making those, but we have new patches coming out, and you'll be the first one to get it. All right, I promise you. They're sick. You will like them.
What do you know about Tar Heel Canine in North Carolina?
Tar Heel Canine. They do a lot of police and military dogs down there. They have a large training facility for that type of training. They got a good training program down there. But have I ever been down there? Nope. Do I know the owner? Yep. Have I ever sat through a course of his? No. But I know they have a good reputation. But just like anything in this industry, you're going to hear bad things about for mostly everyone. Everyone's going to got something to say. But unfortunately, you can't really do much about that. But for the most part, everything I've heard and the one I've dealt with has all been positive with them.
My girlfriend's a Yorkshire Terrier and wants to send him for board training. He's 18 months old, has no training whatsoever. She needs the dog to be able to obey commands and recall.
Okay. Definitely hit us up. All right. So I would say give us a call, email us. That way we can get you the information over to you and go from there. All right. All right. Nope. Where'd my screen go? Where is my screen? Hold on, guys. All right. All right, so I'm back. Sorry about that. All right, so any other questions? What are the other things I wanted to talk about? Bang Energy, great energy drinks. Get them. Let's talk about the Yeti bowls. Good dog bowls here. You can even get them custom here by Yeti. Put your logo on them. Awesome, awesome bowls. What else? We have a lot of you guys have questions about kennels, gunner kennels. Obviously, we have them. My desk is gunner kennels. So if you guys have any questions about gunner kennels or impact kennels, I do work with both of the companies. They're amazing companies. So if you have questions regarding those, please let me know. As you can see, I got my Gunner Kennels t-shirt on. So if you have any questions regarding those kennels, go ahead and shout them out. Eventually I'm going to be doing a review of those kennels, both of them. There is one video up on my Instagram TV on Canine Gunner Tactical of the intermediate and large gunner kennel, the difference between the two of them. But again, if you have any questions, feel free to start shooting them off. All right. So, hold on one second, guys. All right, so tell people about your facility. All right, so we have a 26-acre facility here in Stewartsville, New Jersey. All right, we do everything from mom and pop dogs, basic obedience stuff, advanced obedience stuff. We've trained police and military dogs. We train small dogs. We train large dogs. We train fear-based dogs, anxiety-ridden dogs. We train aggressive dogs. And then we also do boarding here. You know, Monday through Friday, sun up to sundown boarding. We live here on property. There's always someone here, 24/7, 365 audio and video surveillance here on property. We have a state-of-the-art facility. We have put a lot of money into this place. Why? Because I truly care about dogs. I want people to, when they leave their dogs here, I want them to feel super comfortable that they know their dogs are being taken care of and their dog's gonna have a super good time here. And they always do. And clients always tell us, you know, my dog loves coming here. There's been other boarding places that we've boarded them and they hate it. They're scared to go in there, have to drag them in there. The dog always loves coming here. Why? Because the simple fact is, one, we take care of the facility. Our facility is always super clean. Two, we have staff that truly cares about dogs. They love dogs and they're educated and trained on how to take care of them and manage them correctly. They know how to get early signs of dogs being super anxiety ridden, where we can move them in smaller, quieter kennels. We have a state-of-the-art doggy oasis for dogs to swim in. That's triple filtrated. The dogs can actually drink the water, and it's, you know, probably cleaner than the water coming out of your faucet that you drink. So again, we do everything in our means to make dogs, this is like doggy, you know, Disneyland, Disney World for dogs here. All the way up to, you know, putting a, you know, a freaking dog wash, a $25,000 dog wash into our office. Why? Because it makes the experience of getting a bath a lot more enjoyable, because it's less time and the dog doesn't freak out when being in the bath. It makes dogs' association to getting a bath a lot better than spraying them with a hose, or, you know, spraying them and lathering on this soap and then, like, you know, trying to work it all into their coat, where this machine injects the shampoo and conditioner, where you select it on your own, into the hose line. So by the time it comes out of the nozzle, it's already mixed into the water. So when you shoot the dog with the hose, when you spray the dog with the hose, it goes all the way down deep into the fur, and it pretty much washes the dog as you do that. So it minimizes the time the dog has to be in the bath. Then it has a built-in dryer on it. The water's temperature controlled. It's got an onboard water heater on it, so it's not freezing cold. You don't have to adjust the temperature. The moment when you shoot that gun, it is at the right temperature.
How can we stop our 5-month-old puppy from barking when it wants to meet other puppies? We're working on sit and focus on us.
Okay, so 5-month-old, they're in that, like, between stage of, you know, wanting to be an asshole and not knowing better, of being an asshole. I always suggest is, people tend to chalk a lot of behaviors up to being a puppy. Oh, they're just a puppy, let them go. And I've heard people take this all the way up to the dog is 9-10 months old. Oh, it's still a young puppy. You know, at some point you're gonna have to not, one, try to, you know, you bark, here, look over here, get a treat. Because you're running the risk of the dog associating, when I bark, I get a treat. When I bark, I get a treat. When I bark, I get a treat. This is a fun game. Or bark, bark, bark. Okay, we'll go see the puppy. Oh, shut the dog up. Great. All right. And you're happy with that. The problem is we're building very, very bad techniques and bad repetition with the dog associating how it should or shouldn't act. So at some point you're going to have to add correction to this dog. You're going to have to add a punisher for this behavior. But again, I would say you need to get up with a trainer who understands this and can simply deal with what you're dealing with. Getting them in a social setting. If you watch our puppy class or come to our puppy class, you understand that these dogs that range from 4 months old all the way up to 6-7 months old, they run around with each other, they play with each other, and then we stop, we put them on a leash, and then we start training them. Heeling, sitting, downing, focusing on the handler. This is not done by baiting the dog with a treat. All right, the dog understands why, because they've been through our program step by step with what's expected, what's not expected. If we let these dogs just kind of pull, bark, and kind of do what they want to do, they're never going to not do that, because they get pleasure out of barking and pulling and dragging you. I get these owners that come in with these harnesses on a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-month-old dog, and their dog is literally dragging them everywhere it wants to go. I've had clients like today say they spelled out the word nails because the dog doesn't like its nails trimmed. So she said that the dog, she couldn't even say, she spelt it out. She said, we have trouble trimming the dogs, and she spelt out nails. And I looked at her, I said, why are we spelling out that word? She goes, ooh, I can't say that word around him. I said, you're joking, right? And she's like, no, he freaks out. So I said, I literally said to her, I said, say nails. And she said, I can't do it. I said, say nails or leave. And she was like, nails, real quietly. And I was like, no, I want you to say nails out loud. Say it loud. And of course the dog did nothing. And I said, a lot of times we make excuses for the behaviors that the dogs are having, and we also put human emotion on the dogs. So the dog's sad, the dog's upset, The dog doesn't like that. The dog gets upset when I do this. The dog, all these emotions that we put on dogs. Why? Because we humanize them. That's not the case with dogs. They don't have the same human emotions that we feel. They just don't. They associate things with good and bad. It's simple, it's clear. It's simple association. 90% of my clients' dogs, they come to me with knowing sit. Why? Because that dog at an early age offered this behavior of sit, and the owner went, woo, and went, yay, oh my God, my dog's so smart, doggy genius. And they gave it love and they gave it a treat. And that dog, after a couple times of doing that, went, wait a second, every time I sit, this person like freaks out and throws a party. I'm gonna keep doing this whole sit thing, and they're calling it sit, so that must mean what it is. So I'm gonna do that every time they tell me to sit, all right? That's simple association. The dog has learned that on their own by free shaping itself. Then we get into behaviors like down. 90% of your down owners, 90% of your dog owners out there, this is what you do. Sit, the dog's boom in the sit, slams into a sit. And you're like, yeah, dog knows that. Then you're like, down, and the dog looks at you. And you're like, down. Dog looks at you, and then you do this, down. And you give him this thing, and the dog goes, down. Why? Is because when you taught the down, you lured him from the get-go. You weren't patient enough to try to free shape that behavior. So the dog now feeds off your lure to do that behavior of down, all right? This can be fixed, yes. We can start to lure the lure out, get the lure out of it. We can start adding pressure into the training as well, a consequence for not doing. You can start having your negative markers, your your nose, the removal of a treat. But it's just an example of how smart dogs are with simple association. They just associate, this is a good feeling, this is a bad feeling. Survival of the fittest. I want to do this, it makes me feel good. Shit, I don't want to do that. That causes me pain, me discomfort. Let's not do that again. So again, it's simple learning, but we think too much into these dogs. We think too much into their emotional state, and it gets kind of ridiculous sometimes. And I don't like to laugh, but like I do laugh at some of the stuff that my clients will come to me with, and I just look at them and I go, do you really think your dog thinks that? Or do you just think that? And by the end, they're like, maybe I just think that. I'm like, yeah, that's more like it. We got another question?
Are you considering having a podcast or going on Working Dog Radio's podcast?
I'm just now mastering this whole live thing on YouTube, so I'm going to tackle one thing at a time. The whole audio game with me, trying to figure this out, is tough, especially with running the facility day to day and trying to build the business. I'd love to do a podcast eventually and maybe take all the audio from, like a lot of people do, take the audio from their lives that they do and sub it over to a podcast. But honestly, I'm uneducated with the audio side of the house with transferring it. Eventually, maybe yes, but as of right now, that's not my main focus. My main focus is my clients, building the business here, and of course family. So that's first things first. But once I start getting more comfortable with doing these lives, maybe I'll get maybe 50 to 100 underneath my belt. Maybe we can start talking about doing some podcasts.
Oh, it's Holly, one of our clients. She said, I've been to 3 different trainers. My 7-year-old, she was a puppy. Now she's 1-year-old Liberty. She trains with us. She's amazing. And now she was barking at dogs as well in cars. And today we went to the vet. It was so good thanks to her training with Canine Gunner Tactical.
Thank you, Holly. Liberty's a great dog. We love you guys. But again, just another example of a dog that was a little fearful, also kind of barked at things that she was uncomfortable with. And we taught the dog that these aren't the knee-jerk reactions that you need to do. When you feel these types of like, oh, I see a dog, I need to bark. I see a car, I need to chase it. These are like knee-jerk reactions that the dogs have. We need to recondition that. We need to take their brain and kind of say, no, not what we need to do. Let's do this. So thank you very much for your kind words. We appreciate it here at Canine Gunner Tactical, and we love you as well. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and end it here. We're going on about an hour. I hope you guys all enjoyed. This is you guys are all along for the ride. This is our very first YouTube live I really appreciate you guys giving me your time tonight for an hour. It truly means the world to me that you guys have sat here and listened to me bump my gums. It honestly does. I love all you guys for taking the time and, enjoying what I'm enjoying is, my passion for dogs and my dream of having a dog training facility. And that's exactly what we're going to keep doing here, is keep building the dream, and helping you guys out there that need help with their dogs, that they're at their wits' end, or even dogs that are needing to get the right foundation training at first, so they don't get to the point where they're at their wits' end. So if you have any questions for us, you can email us at caninegunnertactical.com. I'm sorry, info@caninegunnertactical.com. That's info@caninegunnertactical.com. Or go to our website at overwatchpetresort.com. Again, our website is right here. Just head over to overwatchpetresort.com for information. Or another quick, easy way, if you guys can't remember the Overwatch stuff, you guys can head over to our Canine GT Nation page and click contact, email us. Those emails will come to us. We will get back to you. Any type of training question that you guys have, I don't have all the time in the world to be able to answer each one individually via email. I don't answer the emails. I have someone who answers the emails, and then it gets forwarded to me, the ones that want to move forward with training or have a Skype session or have a phone call. These are things that we have done in the past, but it's more of a time management thing. There's a lot of clients that are here and also abroad that want to train with us, and they're paying, that I don't have the time to type out, these long-winded answers that you're going to have a follow-up question to. So a lot of you that ask questions, a lot of them aren't just simple answers of A, B equals C. There you go. There's your magic serum that you should do with this dog. It just doesn't work that way. There's a lot of info that you're probably going to have to tell me to have me have the full story, so I can truly assess what's going on. A generalized overview problem of something is not the answer for me. I just can't. There's not enough information in it to solve it. All right. Using lures are bad for basic obedience. Are you using lures a bad thing for basic? Are using lures? Yeah, that's why I don't read these questions, because I don't read. I'm a Marine, duh. Marines don't read. Unless you're an officer or something, then you're paid to read. Anyways, no, they're not a bad thing. A lot of times you're gonna have to lure a dog into a behavior, a position that's not natural for the dog. You could wait all day for a free shaping of that behavior, and it's never gonna happen. So if you don't have a dog that offers behaviors willingly, let's just say if you go over to our touch videos of teaching the dog a touch command with a touchpad, these things aren't, they're not going to happen if the dog doesn't offer the behaviors of going towards the touchpad. Your dog's going to shut down and go, screw this. So you might have to use a lure there. So using a lure is not a bad thing. All I'm saying is don't jump to just using lures with every behavior that you're trying to teach. Try to understand markers and try to understand free shaping first. With free shaping the dog, to start being a forward-thinking dog in what they're doing. Not all behaviors you have to guide the dog to. So for example, if you have a child that is having issues with homework, by grabbing that homework and just doing it while they watch, or taking their hand and walking them through it, is not the answer, because they're going to get to school without you there, and they're going to ask for that to be shown, and they're not going to have you there to guide them through it. So if that child is pretty much walked through it, but they're doing it on their own, and they're thinking through that problem, and they're doing it again and again on their own, that is free shaping. They're understanding it by walking themselves through it, all right? They're not relying on you to do it for them. That is what the problem with luring, when you just rely on luring for a dog, they're relying on you to walk them through those behaviors. And that's a problem when it comes to a dog. When a dog is lured their entire training, You don't get a forward-thinking dog to figure out what it is that you want. And especially when you're adding pressure into training, the dog is not going to figure out on its own, shit, they don't want me to do that. What is it they want me to do? Let me figure this problem out. I'm not going to wait for a lure to figure this out. I'm just going to offer another behavior, and hopefully it's the right one. Boom, it is. They gave me my marker of yes or good or clicker, and now I understand it. So getting a dog that's a forward-thinking dog is better than having a dog that's been lured their entire life and pretty much their hand held through every problem or every obedience command that they've ever learned. All right. Any last questions? All right. All right, guys. Again, thank you for joining us. We love you. Like always, build a bond, build trust, and build that team.